conflict has triggered viewers one of the biggest oil supply disruptions in history, sending shock waves across the global economy. From long queues at fuel stations to emergency measures by governments, the crisis is spreading rapidly across continents. With the Strait of Hormuz disrupted, handling nearly 20% of global oil supply markets are volatile. Prices are rising and economies are under pressure. With this, panic buying and long queues at gas stations are a common sight across the world. Let's take a look at some of the videos that are emerging from around the world. The US gasoline prices, which are rising by 5 to 10 cents daily, crossing the $5 gallon mark in many states. President Trump has threatened further military action to reopen the strait, while the IEA orders the largest strategic oil reserve release in history. Panic and fear among citizens in the US as they stockpile gasoline in anticipation of supply disruptions. And here's the next video, this time from Australia. Several videos have been surfacing of deserted gas stations from across the country. Many gas stations in Australia have been shut down due to the war in the Persian Gulf. According to reports, over 500 gas stations in Australia have now run out of fuel. 187 have completely run out of diesel, while 32 service stations have run out of all types of fuel. Shifting our focus towards Europe, where industrial output is stalling. Here's a video from Slovenia. Slovenian manufacturers are reporting 30% surcharges on electricity and feedstock, warning that the energy supply shock could trigger a deep continental. Asia is the continent most hit by the oil situation. Let's take a look at Philippines, where transport groups and commuters are reeling as fuel prices hit record highs. The government is considering emergency fuel subsidies for jeepney drivers to prevent a total collapse of public transit as inflation spikes nationwide. Meanwhile, in Thailand, dramatic footage shows no fuel signs appearing across Bangkok. Gas stations are implementing strict rationing, limited purchases to a few liters per vehicle to preserve dwindling national reserves as the maritime blockade halts. But what about India? Well, while Indian LPG and crude oil shipments continue to come back from the Strait of Hormuz, following diplomatic efforts from the government, long queues have been formed outside gas stations across the country. These videos are from Gujarat and Telangana, where vehicle owners are rushing to get fuel. Let's talk about India's neighbors in Pakistan. The crisis has turned into a grocery emergency. Faced with 42% surge in diesel costs, the government has slashed the work week to 4 days and closed schools to save fuel, while food supplies prices, triple due to transport. And meanwhile, in Bangladesh, power plants are shutting down as LNG shipments from Qatar are blocked. Widespread load shedding, blackouts is crippling the garment industry, the backbone of the economy, as the country loses 500 potential LNG cargoes to the war. These videos show fuel stations being shut down in Bangladesh due to the oil situation. Mithali Nikore, of course, is joining me. Mithali, what would you like to say about all of these developments that we've apprised our viewers of?
No, absolutely. And, this is exactly what I was mentioning even before, that the ripple effects of this war, the way they are playing out across Asia today, it is very likely that they will start playing out across Europe in about 15 days' time. The clock is ticking. And that's because while Asian countries don't maintain such large stocks of fuel, European countries do, but they're also running through their stocks very quickly. And we can see that, countries across Asia are adopting different solutions like lockdowns, like work from home mandates, like public holidays, in order to actually deal with this crisis. But that's only because they feel that it's going to be short term. I do think the one country which has done which has done a very good management through this crisis is China, because China has invested for a long time in its renewable energy assets, and it has also secured a safe passage for its fuel ships via the Strait of Hormuz because of its agreements with Iran. See, at the end of the day, all countries, and especially India, have to work on becoming more and more self sufficient when it comes to energy. And all countries can do this with renewable energy investments. But at the same time, it becomes critical for countries, especially in the global south, to work with Iran. And that gives Iran leverage in how the war is going to end. Because at the end of the day, the kind of chaos that they have managed to plunge the world into gives them very strong leverage on the timing and the conditions for ending the war, especially now that the US has signaled that they want the war to end. So it is very critical for the global economy. It is very critical for global growth. It's very critical for stability in asset prices and global markets that the de escalation happens fast. And that again gives Iran leverage.